Max, do you eat hemp foods currently?
I do. I eat hemp seeds. I got them at Costco, and it's a big bag, a really big bag, and I'm not through it yet, but I do like to add those hemp seeds to my salads. To me, it adds a nice little flavor and a crunch, and I understand that there's a lot of health benefits behind that.
Yeah, me too. I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but I understand that there's some magic about the omega-3s, 6s, and 9s, the ratio, and the protein, and it's really good for you. I like the flavor. I put them in my salads daily, put them in smoothies, although I don't have smoothies, but when I did, I would put them in smoothies, and I feed it to the dogs, actually.
Oh, yeah? How do you get it? How do you get the dogs to eat it?
They love it. We just put it right into their food. We just mix the hemp into their food, and that's probably a good way to start, at least right now, because people think of hemp, and we mostly talk about CBD, but do you know, Max, where does the food part come out of the hemp?
Yeah, I mean, the food, I think, so what I understand, so first of all, I just wanted to mention real quick, just on the previous subject about your dogs taking it, I know we also have a farmer friend of ours in Pennsylvania that feeds it to his horses, right? So that's also, and remember when we had the horse doctor on as well, she indicated that it's also very healthy for them, the omegas and the fatty acids and everything that we talked about. So as far as the food is concerned, I know that there's no CBD in the seeds themselves, so I have to assume that the food part is the seed. And I guess in ways it could be, I understand you can eat every part of the hemp plant. You technically can eat the leaves, the flowers, you can eat anything, right?
Right, and that's a very good question that comes up. Just because you can eat something, does that mean you should eat something, right?
You watch any episode of a survival show and it'll answer that question. You probably...
Right, you can eat all the parts, but the nutritious part that they talk about eating hemp is the seeds.
The seeds, gotta be.
And the seeds can, they say how there's magical powers in them, the superfood, they can be processed a couple different ways. Like Max, we eat them as hemp hearts, and I think they roast it and then they crack the shell, so it's just the nut part of it, or the.
I got you. So it's just the inside of the seed. It's not the what do they call it? The sheath, the hull.
The hull.
Is that what they call it?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
That's what we were supposed to learn today, actually.
I know. Look, this is how clueless we are without our guests. We have all these questions now. We're going to probably have more questions after the show than we will actually before the show.
And you got to at least give us props that we can make a show out of a show.
Well, the other interesting thing about hemp seeds, because they are nutty, I also hear that they're not seeds, right?
They're not seeds.
They're part of the same family as nuts.
Okay.
Like peanuts.
Okay.
Because they have that similar sort of shell.
Peanuts technically aren't nuts. They're legumes.
Okay.
There you go.
So hemp seeds might be the same type of
So does that mean that I can also get my degree in economics that we were going to announce today, too, now that I know that, right?
What if someone has nut allergies?
Well, I feel bad for them.
Would they be allowed to have hemp seeds?
I don't know. It's a good question for the guest that should have joined.
Or no, right. Yeah, I don't know.
Anybody know the answer to that? Call us in and tell us. You can even Google it real quick if you want.
If you have nut allergies. So the other thing about hemp seeds is, as opposed to eating it raw, you can get the cold-pressed hemp oil.
Okay.
And this is something we definitely have to talk about.
Yep.
And because of the way the show's going now, we may want to spread this out until the end of the show and to take it out. But, what's the difference between hemp oil and CBD oil?
So the smartest way for me to answer that is really slowly.
Yeah, and you know what? We can leave this as a cliffhanger, right? And you have to come back after we take a commercial break, and we'll get you the answer to that question. What is the difference between hemp oil and CBD oil?
Right.
Why don't you actually call in and let us know, and we can even give you a prize.
Sure.
Why don't we do that?
We haven't given a prize in so long.
We haven't. All right. So the number to call, we're going to do a prize here. It's 410-922-6680. The winner gets the brand new roll-on from Max and Stevens.
They get a free roll-on?
A free roll-on. It's a retail value of $55.
That's awesome.
And let's see if you call in, if you can tell us the difference between hemp oil and CBD oil.
Yeah, and then that way we can charge the guest that didn't show up today for that roll-on
Right, exactly.
for the person that's going to win it.
I love it. All right, well, fantastic. So give us a call. The number again, 410-922-6680. We're going to come back And hopefully one of you can tell us the answer to the question is, what is the difference between hemp oil and CBD oil? So today we're going to answer some of the big questions we have about hemp foods.
Right.
And if you hadn't joined earlier, our guest that was planning on being here must have a great excuse for not showing up today. But instead, we started to do a contest. And the contest is for one bottle of Max and Steven's CBD roll-on, right, Max?
That's right.
Tell us about the roll-on.
It's a $55 value. The roll-on is amazing. It's got all natural essential oils and ingredients. It's got 1,000 milligrams of CBD.
Wow.
It's got this amazing roller ball applicator. Mrs. Mailsack's a huge fan. I'm a huge fan. It really gets into the muscle. It's really, really nice. My favorite part about it is it's got this, like, I think it's because of the menthol crystals, right? Mm-hmm. It's got this, like, nice tingling that just, it almost feels like a spearmint on your body. I can't explain it, but it's just very, very soothing.
Yeah, the menthol crystal and the capsicum flower. That's like the icy hot, all the natural icy hot, and then the eucalyptol, which is another piece, too.
All of the customers and clients of ours who have been asking us for a cream or a topical product, I mean, we really took this to heart, and we came out with what we believe is the absolute best. And this is after trying many, many different ones. I just love it.
Right, good. All right, well, it looks like we have a caller on the line here. We'll see what the answer is here. We got Roger in Baltimore. How are you, Roger?
Hey, I'm very cool.
Awesome, man.
right.
We're happy.
Love your music. I'm dancing.
Thanks, Roger.
Appreciate it. All right, so the question, Roger, is what is the difference between hemp oil and CBD oil? Do you have an answer for us?
Well, I know certainly one difference is that the hemp oil comes from the seeds and CBD oil comes from like flowers, leaves, or stems. So, I mean, it comes from a slightly different part of the plant.
Bingo. That's
exactly right.
There are many answers. That's a great answer,
That's a great
Roger.
answer.
When we put you on hold, Noah will be able to get your information, and we'll. Oh, you got it already? Oh, perfect. So we'll get that bottle out to you.
Roger, that's such a great answer. Are you by any chance a hemp and or CBD user currently?
Actually, no, I'm not, but I'm learning more. So I guess I'll become pretty soon.
Yeah, right.
Bottle, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, you'll try it topically for our roll-on. So any aches and pains, anything that bothers you. I know Steve uses it for sunburns on his dome. Anything like that, you can just roll it right on, and you'll love it.
How about like arthritic knees? Does it do something for that, or is it more muscle stuff?
We're not allowed to make health claims.
Well, yeah, we can't make health claims, but Roger, let me tell you, the roll-on applicator is great because I have arthritic knees also, and it gets in that pinpoint where you want to roll it on your knees. It has a little tingling after effect, but because of the roller ball, you can really get it in there in the joint. And it, as you know, it can be a little painful, but it's good to roll it out as opposed to letting it stay. As you know, with arthritis, you got to keep it moving, and the motion of rubbing into those joints, I've appreciated, and I think it helps. It helps me.
Yeah, with any luck, it'll help you out, Roger. It's
Great tip. Tip.
Well, thanks for calling and saving us a little bit here. And you don't happen to be an expert on
hemp foods,
agronomics and hemp foods, do you?
Nah.
All right, just kidding. Thanks, buddy. We appreciate it, Roger.
Thanks
for
Roger.
calling. All right, so we want to spend a lot of this time, at least since we may not be able to get a lot of these questions answered.
Let's riff on them. I say we go through the list of questions that we were going to talk to our guest about,
Okay.
Steve, and I just say we answer what we think is the answer.
Another thing, too. I like this giveaway thing. We haven't done it in a while. Can we do more? Can
Absolutely.
we do another one?
Yes, sir.
And the other one we can give away as a bottle of our CBD
oil.
drops. Right,
The CBD
oil.
drops are talking about over 500 milligrams of CBD in an oil that you can take sublingually under your tongue, that you can mix with food if that's what you choose, and you can also use it topically.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I'm going to try to figure out what a really good question is to ask the guests about hemp or CBD. And I can't think of anything right now, but we will come up with. But one of the main things I do want to know is actually what is the difference between hemp seed and hemp grain? Now, understand the question, right? What's the difference between? Because people talk about, I'm gonna get some hemp seed or hemp grain to grow hemp, or I'm gonna get some hemp seed or hemp grain to feed my cows or pigs. What's the difference? Is it the same thing, or is there a difference? Hemp seed or hemp grain?
I don't know. I don't have any idea. Maybe that's a good question to ask a listener so they can Google it and let us know.
That's right. That's the second trivia question for today.
Yeah.
All right.
Like if I was going to take a guess between hemp seed and hemp grain, I would think that like the grain is still has the cover on it, right? The husk, whatever it is, and then the seed is what's on the inside. Is that a fair statement?
I mean, that's a good guess.
I
You're
could
not
be
eligible
completely,
to play.
but I could be completely wrong too. I mean, I don't know.
You could be wrong. So let's do that. Another question. The number to call is 410-922-6680. Again, that's 410-922-6680. That is the call-in number. If you can answer the question, what's different between hemp grain and hemp seed? That would actually help us out because we're not really sure, We're
here as the CBD experts, to be clear.
Yeah, that's one of the questions we have. The other question I have is the difference in the varieties or strains.
Okay, yeah.
And we've also heard that sometimes it's called a variety and sometimes people call it a strain when they're talking about the type of hemp or cannabis that's grown. It's another big question I had for our guest today that we're just going to have to wait to hear about.
Yeah, one of the things I was going to ask her was, are there particular strains or varieties, right, that are grown specifically for consumption as opposed to, I don't know, oils, for example? I don't know. So I thought maybe that would be an interesting thing that we could talk about.
Yeah. Well, the people we do work with in the industry, the holy grail that they love is the three-purpose crop.
Yeah.
Have you heard about that?
No.
So a three-purpose crop would be you would be able to grow one plant for three purposes. So you'd be able to harvest the top for cannabinoids.
Okay.
So you can make hemp oil.
And like the stalk for fiber, that kind of thing?
Right. You could get the stalk for fiber and the seeds for oil.
For oil.
For oil.
For oil. Got it.
Or food. So to get all three from one plant. And there's a unique way that the plants spread and pollinate between there's a male plant and a female plant, and there's actually big problems and a lot of issues between medical marijuana and the industrial hemp because of the needs for industrial hemp to grow seeds, but those seeds then throw pollen out. So the distance between where you're growing the seeds and where you're growing the females that you don't want pollinated is a thing. Have you heard any about this?
Yeah. I remember the last time that I was at a farm visiting, they were mentioning that there's farms that are nearby, and it's a real problem because when you cross pollinate, it's a big deal.
Yeah. Another big question about when hemp food comes out, and Max, you probably know the answer to this: is there CBD in my hemp foods? So is there CBD in the hemp oil? Or is there CBD in the hemp hearts that you're getting at the store?
Yeah, I do know the answer to that question, and it's a good one. The answer is no. So CBD comes from the buds. There is no CBD in the seeds. So one of the biggest misconceptions and the mistake that people make is they go on an Amazon and they buy what's called hemp oil, and they think that they're getting CBD. What they're getting is oil from the seeds, which has nutritional value at best and at worst has no CBD in it. Maybe I didn't say that clearly, but the point is that oil has none of that. So you want to make sure that when you do purchase CBD oil, that it's actually CBD oil and not hemp oil.
That's good. Well, thanks for jumping in a little bit early, Doc G. And this was one of the questions, and I don't know if you know the answer to this or not, but what if someone has nut allergies? Is a hemp seed something to be concerned with, or what's your take on that?
That's a really good question because I've actually had a couple patients that had severe nut allergies, but they do very well on the hemp seed. Now, how I caution my patients about this is that if you have a severe nut allergy, to make sure you have all the medications that you're able to manage that if you do have a reaction, and try slowly but surely introducing that into your system if you're going to try hemp, whether it's hemp seed or hemp protein powders. I have seen crossover with that. Another note about that is that making sure you look at the label closely, that you see that the hemp product or the hemp protein product isn't processed in a plant that also processes things with nuts. I have seen that before as well be an issue.
Thanks, Doc.
That's great. That's great. Well, we really do appreciate you coming in early. And some of the other questions that we just were stirring around with was a lot of times the difference between some of the vocabulary that people use when they start talking about hemp or CBD. And our caller called in. We had a contest, which you just missed, but it was the difference between the hemp oil and CBD oil, which is a lot of big confusion. And then the other thing, which was is there CBD in hemp foods? Like in your hemp hearts you get from, like Max gets his from Costco.
Right. So there are CB-like molecules, but there's no CBD, actual CBD. I'm going to mention this in the Dr. G's Corner. We talk about how you can derive some of these natural CBD compounds from omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids in your body. These are derived naturally in your body. But as far as finding actual CBD or cannabinoid like molecules, and no, it needs to be either directly from hemp itself or marijuana as well, the hemp plant, the cannabis plant, or processed, of course, from the hemp in a product, an over-the-counter product.
Right. So people should know to be safe with that. Now, another question I have when we come back with Doc G's Corner, we're going to talk really about the hemp nutrition and some other things that you have on tap for us. But as putting the hemp aside for a little bit, because I know this has come up, and a lot of people are recommending people to eat fish oil and take supplements of fish oil or krill oil. But I was watching a documentary about the toxic fish. So, is it still okay to eat fish oil? Or, I know, what's the deal with this?
Yeah, that's a big deal, actually. Over the years, especially as foods become, and over-the-counter products become more highly processed. That highly processed means that all they're doing is getting that compound together, but that doesn't mean that they're weeding out or filtering out the toxins that go along with the source of where these fish oils are coming from. And this is becoming a more and more of an issue, a more toxicologic issue. Sourcing the fish oils are extremely important, the proper source. And to go into all sorts of different sourcing discussions here, it goes beyond this discussion. But I'll tell you this, it is a real thing. Toxins found in fish oils can be a problem. We have seen this in over-the-counter fish oil products. Finding a clean source is important. And hemp oil omegas are a great clean source. Now, to be clear, hemp can also be a source of toxins, depending on how it's grown. So looking for an organic source, a certified organic source, farming source, is important as well, in understanding where you're sourcing your products from.
Hey, Doc, I have a question for you. Do you consume hemp regularly, like in your diet?
I do, actually. I have some hemp-based products, protein products that I use. My body likes, and most of my patients who have either some sort of inflammatory issues, underlying inflammatory issues, or obesity issues that obviously has inflammatory issues in. These are great antioxidant properties. But the other reason why I personally do it is because it's a great omega-3 source for my body, a fantastic omega-3 source. And these omega-3 sources are part of the precursors of your natural body's ability to make cannabinoids, endocannabinoids in your system.
Yeah.
Wow. So the consumption of omega-3 fatty acids help the cannabinoid receptors in your body.
Absolutely.
Get out of here. That's fascinating. I didn't know that.
Yeah, we learn something new every day.
Another cool thing is there's bad omegas, there's good omegas, there's in-between omegas. The bottom line is over the last century, this is good. I think of omega-3s as good and omega-6s as bad. And over the years, that gap has closed from taking in good omega-3s. Bad omega-6 has closed, especially if you're eating out a lot. then people have a higher ratio of omega-6s to omega-3s in their diet, and that just increases inflammation overall.